Good evening. We're going to call to order the Committee on Infrastructure at 7 o'clock. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Alderman Tom Lopez.
Here.
Alderman Jen Schmidt, I'm here. Alderman Ernie Jetty. Here. Alderman Ken Gidge. Here. We also have Alderman McCarthy. And Alderman Karen.
Mhm.
Last in the roll call, first in our hearts.
And I think we're going to probably hear from, also in attendance, Mr. Scott Cody, who will probably speak later in the meeting, so we could put him on.
Okay.
All right, very good. Is there any public comment from anybody here to discuss? No public comment? Communications?
None.
Unfinished business?
There is none.
Okay, new business resolutions?
Resolution 18-011, authorizing the conveyance of a discontinued portion of West Glenwood Street. I move we recommend passage.
Final passage? All right. And to hear on this ordinance, I'm going to ask Alderman Karen if she'd be willing to speak on the matter. And Alderman, I did take the liberty to bring up on the board, that's the area that is in question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. About a year ago, the Colomb family came to speak. Actually, they called the city tax collector as to how they could get portions of that street given to them since they own the property at the end. It took a while because legal had to verify that the street had been discontinued, which was done back in 1967. And then BPW sent their surveyors out to do the work, the site work. So that has all been done, and now all it is an approval from the full Board of Aldermen to discontinue the street to give the Colombs, the abutters, part of the land. In your package, it did give the number and the quadrants, and the cost for this for fees is about $45 to the Colomb family. So it's been a long time coming. I don't know if he tried doing it back in the 70s, but I don't know what happened. But I told him I'd see what we could do. They're very nice people in the dead end street, so we'd like to help them if we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions by the board? Alderman McCarthy?
Where is their driveway? Looks like it's off the extension of the street, or?
I really can't, unless it
I
tells you.
guess my concern is this, I'm guessing that when they acquire that piece in the middle, they're gonna subdivide the lot and sell the other half of it off, and I wanna make sure that we have the right access to the two halves with the street taken out.
Oh, I understand. It's 60, what did I say, 68?
Yeah, 68.
68 West Glenwood. They didn't seem, the surveyor didn't seem to have a problem. They're an elderly couple. I mean, I think it's just something that he's wanted to do. That seems to be his concern, that this gets taken care of. So that's why they went out and surveyed it and really took their time putting this together. So, but I can understand your concern, but I really
And I
don't.
would guess that within 5 years, there'll be another
Well,
house
if
on
he's
that other
gonna-
half.
Probably.
And I
It
just
could
wanna
be,
make
yeah.
I'm not, I guess I don't, is that strip of land behind that owned by the city, or?
I don't know, it's hard for me to,
The GIS map?
if, I really need to get up close here, because they're claiming that at one time, this should have gone into the back of, where Mom and Drive. Marmon Drive is, and that, but
Yeah,
they
no, I
didn't. So
understand.
I'm not sure if that's the city's land, or, I would think it is, but,
Okay, I want to make sure that there's adequate access
sure.
to the two lots when it ultimately gets divided. It looks like there is.
And Alderman Jettie?
So the petitioners own, is that 60, I can't read that, is that 68?
Yeah, right
Yeah,
here where the
right, the
cursor
end.
is. Mhm.
And so lot 68 is that, that, everything that was, that's in yellow there?
Right.
It was in red on the other picture?
Right, as you can see, the way it's
Okay.
Right.
blocked out.
And so what, so I guess there'd be a line, that north-south boundary line would just be extended? Do we know how much of the street we're giving them?
Here, I have the, so, it's like 5 feet, 1 point, 60 feet, another.
We don't have a,
Yeah, I have it right here. This
we
gives
have
you
it?
this gives you the numbers.
but we don't have a drawing showing?
No, they don't, no, they didn't provide. Legal doesn't provide that. But they didn't, this wasn't a problem because they do this all the time to discontinue streets for the butters.
Any further questions on the board? All right, I do have one, Alderman Karen. This would probably go back with this. It'll be taken off the city and become taxable property to the
Right, that's,
proprietors.
right, because it goes on to their tax rolls, and that's why
Okay.
they have to pay for the recording fees, which is about $45.
Okay, very good. Any other further questions of the committee? Seeing none, the motion is for final passage. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. R 1811 passes.
Thank you.
New business ordinances.
O-18-005, adding additional fire station signal locations.
All right, if I may, and thank you, Alderman Karen.
Thank you.
Okay. This here, I was asked by the fire department, since I sponsored this, to include this. This is what I'd call basically a housekeeping type of measure. Past history being on the fire department, and particularly on the safety committee at the time, all our fire stations had no traffic control devices, and it seems kind of archaic in this day and age, but back then that was the case. So therefore, apparatus exiting and coming back into quarters, there was no traffic devices to halt traffic. Firemen were expected, as they still do, to get off the apparatus and stop the traffic, but now they have the assistance of the traffic light. And over the years, through the safety committee work that I was on, we were able to get the city to put all stations, but with the land of budgetary and spending caps and everything, it was done in a very piecemeal type of fashion. So there was brought to my attention that there was several stations that were left out. So now, by rewriting this ordinance, is going to include all fire stations that are currently have the traffic control devices, and they will be listed on the official city rule. So if I can have a motion, please, by the clerk.
I move to recommend passage.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Schmidt to recommend final passage. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 01805 passes. Do we have any further ordinances, Madam Clerk?
018-007, prohibiting placing or blowing yard debris in the street.
Okay.
You have
This motion, oh, yes, Alderman Lopez.
I actually want to make a motion to table this motion because Alderman Malizi Goya has emailed the committee and said there were some concerns brought up at Board of Public Works that should be addressed first.
Okay. Yeah, duly noted. I do see here that the Public Works Committee did table it on 3/22. So there's a motion by Alderman Lopez to table. Any further tabling is a non-discussable motion, so therefore I'll call the question. All those in favor of tabling, say aye.
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 Opposed? None? Okay. 018-007 is on the table. Do we have a further ordinance?
018-009, prohibiting parking on a portion of the south side of Prospect Street.
Okay. And the chair will recommend Alderman McCarthy. Would you like to speak to this?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's the entrance to one of the parking lots, and there are currently spaces immediately adjacent to the two sides, which causes a visibility problem when turning in or presumably when exiting the lot.
And the chair would like to invite up Mr. Scott Cody, if he so wishes. Please take a seat if you wish to further enlighten us, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Scott Cody, I'm with Southern New Hampshire Medical Center, 8 Prospect Street here in Nashua. I had actually reached out to Alderman McCarthy to help me with this legislation because we've actually had trouble not only with the visibility issue, but also getting emergency vehicles in and out of that medical office building. Because if you look at the aerial drawing I provided you with the 2 red boxes, you can see that there are cars that are actually parked right up close on each side. And given the elevation of that end of Prospect Street, it's very difficult to navigate in there. So if this works, we may actually be back before you asking to do the same thing at 10 Prospect Street, where we have a similar issue there as well.
Very good. I do have a question. I did read the ordinance, and it says for striping and different things. Is that going to be taken care of by your facility and street signage or anything?
I'm happy to help with that if that's what you'd like. I mean, that's...
Yeah. Because the reason is I would just imagine if they're parking there now, you're going to have to do something to make people aware that, either a strash height mark,
Well, typically, there's signage that's put up there that says no parking from
No
here
parking.
to corner.
Okay.
And then if you want the curbing painted or something like that, we're happy to do that as long as we get the city's okay to do that.
Talk to Public Works, but I'm sure they won't object.
Well, I'm sure they won't.
Yeah, it's just change and just to assist. I know you have a very busy facility there, and I could see people still encroaching on what you're trying to do, unfortunately, if they didn't
Well,
really have it.
Yeah, the good thing is that if people do, and it's well signed and marked, then, law enforcement will ticket accordingly, and that problem generally goes away after the first few times.
All right. Alderman Jettie.
So I'm looking at picture, an aerial photo. So what part of Prospect Street are you asking us to stop parking? Is it just these red boxes?
Correct. That's approximately 15 feet from either side of that primary entrance into 17 Prospect Street.
Okay, so the rest of the south side of Prospect Street will continue to have parking?
Correct.
Okay.
It's really just to gain proper access and visibility into that site.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. All set, Alderman Jettie?
Yes.
Okay, Alderman Lopez?
This seems really straightforward, and it's 2 parking spaces surrounded by many, many more parking spaces. And the driving force behind this is just a safety issue, making sure there's visibility turning in and out of the parking lot. So I think this is something we can pretty easily support.
Okay, very good. Any further questions by the board? Okay, I don't think we got a motion, so the clerk, can you?
I move to
Thank you.
recommend final passage on 018-009.
Okay, a motion by Alderman Schmidt to recommend final passage. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay, 018-009 passes. All right, any general discussion by any members of the board? Okay, seeing none. Alderman Lopez, do you have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Very good. A motion by Alderman Lopez to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, and this meeting will be declared closed at 7:15. Thank you all for coming.
He knows